Everybody, poor connection here. Hey everybody, welcome back to another live interview with Passover listings, and we're going to bring on a special guest this evening. For those of you who are in New York, and it's afternoon here in Los Angeles here. So thanks everybody for jumping on. I'm not going to tell you the countdown for Pesach because I think everyone knows about it already. I keep saying it every time. And thank you for of course, people reaching out and asking, we've gotten a bunch of new programs on Passover listings. You can take a look at them. Programs are selling out this year, so that's great. People are going away. They're traveling, which is very nice with their families and friends. If you need any help, you know where to reach us. You can always reach out directly through Instagram. You can reach out directly through email. We are here to help you. We're going to be joined by a special guest who is an influencer. There we go. SD Kessler. Welcome.
Hey, Don. Hey, thanks for having me on, and thanks for accommodating my time zone. I know it's still a little early on the West Coast.
This is great. Thanks for jumping on.
Pool and stuff, but it's getting late for me here in the UK.
Yes. So you are currently in the UK. So are you in London right now?
We are a little bit outside of London. We're in Kent, which is about a 30 to 40 minute train ride. We're actually in this really crazy old English countryside manor place, which is pretty cool. This house has actually this crazy history that we didn't even know until after we came in. Basically, it was built in Dover, which is about 25 miles away.
Okay.
And it's right on the edge, on the border of the English Channel, overlooking France. So you could actually see France out the windows. And it was on the cliffs, and it basically slid down 100 feet. There was a landslide, and this is all documented in newspaper clippings and everything. So it slid down, but it stayed intact, and they were able to crane the whole house over 25 miles to this area, and it's been here for over 100 years now, and it's actually owned by a Jewish family, which we were so away. Yeah, it was so crazy.
So you have a very interesting story. Right? You're traveling right everywhere around the world. That's what you go, you pick up from one place to the next place,
right?
And then you travel kosher, right? And you're going and. So tell us a little about that. So where, over the last 6 months, maybe, or a year, which places, how often do you stay in each place, and where are you going to, and how do you find kosher food? And tell us a little about that.
Basically, this is something we don't always live kind of nomadically. Mm-hmm. We had a pretty standard lifestyle, and this year we decided to do something kind of crazy, kind of out there. We decided to take a year off, I guess.
You're off.
We're having a sabbatical year, so to speak. So we basically decided we're gonna spend this year in Europe and have a completely different lifestyle. And we're not so much, we're not living out of a suitcase. We're not jumping around constantly, because we do want to keep kind of a sense of stability for the kids, and we don't want it to be too crazy. And we have 4 young children, so we have to keep some sense of calm and routine. Right. But we basically spent 3 months. Well, our first kind of leg of the journey was in Jerba. So we spent Sukkot in Jerba, which is an island off of Tunisia.
Right.
We were there on a Sukkot program, which was awesome, and that was great. Such an
which one? Which Sukkot program?
I'm trying to remember the name now. It is called Royal. Why am I blanking? Royal Travel. I want to say it's a French program, so everyone was basically French speaking, which sometimes can be tricky with having the multicultural kind of dimension. But everyone was super welcoming, so nice. We had a really great time, and then obviously October 7th happened right after, so that kind of threw a curveball and kind of put a damper on our travels. But after that, we went over to France, and we were in France for about 3 months. We did some travel we were just recently a few weeks ago in Vienna and Budapest, and then back to France for a couple weeks. And now,
so when you're doing a sabbatical, you how many kids? How many kids do you have?
4 kids.
3 kids. Okay, so you have
Four.
three kids. They're pretty. Oh, four kids. Oh my gosh,
Four
you have
kids.
four kids, and they're young kids, right?
Yeah.
They're not right. They're not
So our oldest is 9. He just turned
right.
9. Yeah, and our youngest is almost 1.5.
Oh my gosh. So how do you do it, right? You're going from place to place. You're going from Jerba, Tunisia to France to wherever. Like, how are you? I mean, there must be a lot of planning that goes into this,
Yeah,
right? I mean, ahead of time, because you really got to like focus on.
you definitely have to plan in advance. But I also like, and my husband and I are kind of on the same page, I think, that we don't get too caught up on like the details because I think if you get really caught up on the planning and
Mhm.
fine tuning every little detail, it just causes so much stress and it's not conducive, to the big picture. So we like to like make sure that we're kind of like not getting stressed out on the details because there's always going to be changes of plans, whether it's with
Wow,
travel arrangements or
this sounds so
whatever.
cool. I'm sorry. I mean, this is such a. This sounds so fun. I wish I can do that. Get up. Hey, I'm gonna go on a year sabbatical. I'll see you later. Just take the.
Said than done. Obviously, it's a lot more, there's definitely, it's not always easy.
Right,
There's always things that come up, and with kids,
right,
everything,
right,
so, life happens. But
right.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you just have to take it easy and
Yeah.
just know, like,
All
it'll
right.
all be really good. Think
Absolutely.
well and it'll be well. That's kind of my
So
motto.
here's a fun question for you. What is, you've been to a lot of places. I don't know, I would love to name drop just the places you've been to, but what's the most fun place you've been to over the last year? Like,
Ooh, that's a toughie. I mean, honestly, Jerba left such an impression on us. I don't know if I'm like the weirdo, but to be honest, didn't really know the background of it, and I actually had no idea that it was called the Island of Kohanim. I don't know if that's like
oh,
common
really?
knowledge, and yeah. So basically, it's really fascinating. So we kind of dove into that history, and after the destruction of the first Beit HaMikdash, the Kohanim, most of them basically relocated to this island off of Tunisia. So most males there still have the Kohen DNA, which is so
Hmm.
fascinating. The
Wow.
entire island basically Kohanim, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the shoulder is the oldest shoulder. What our whole reasoning was, like to have the kids experience this kind of history and like walk through history instead of just learning from textbooks and just have this experience and really like just be immersed in it.
Yeah.
And it was so
I mean,
amazing.
culture, I feel like for the kids, it's probably unbelievable. Like, to kind of get it so young, just the different types of cultures because I feel like, being a people's person and having, not, just, being able to kind of speak to so many different types of people out there and learn the culture is super crucial these days, especially. Kohanim, that is really cool. I mean, I wonder how those shuls are. I mean, they must have I hope they have enough levium to wash the hands of the Kohanim,
Yeah,
and they
I
probably
don't
duchen.
know how it works like on a regular basis. I actually don't even know if they do regular like services. But when we were there, it was really interesting because you actually have to remove your shoes inside, which was kind of new to us at
Oh,
least. And
when you go in the shul
you go in,
before you enter the shul.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
And then you also have to put on like a head covering, like a head scarf. Like even though, I
yeah,
cover my hair, but
yeah.
even so I had to put on like a fabric sort of scarf head
Wow.
covering.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is so fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
this, by the way, you know how fascinating this will be? This will be so fascinating for people at a Pesach program. No, this
Right.
is so no, this is so fascinating. I love it. I love like experiencing, and I don't get to do this that much. I mean, we travel here and there, but nothing like this. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
To really understand different nuances and figure out, I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Um, so
And
obviously,
honestly, like the way I would say our like world travels have really been like the reason behind it has been Pesach programs. Like to be honest, that's kind of how it all started. We've done
what do
a
you mean?
decent amount of
What do you mean
travel.
by that?
Well,
Like the
what I
reason?
mean is that, we've done like a decent amount of travel with the kids. We've been to more like tropical places like Mexico and
Yeah,
Hawaii, places
yeah,
that we love, we're
right,
relaxing and the beach and kinds of things. But
right,
it kind of all started when we moved 5 years ago. We moved from California to Houston,
right.
and that year was it was so stressful, just like the move to a new state and everything that that entails, and like just starting this new chapter and coming from like, your standard California,
Yeah.
like small space living to
Yeah.
this house that seemed so huge to us, coming
Yeah.
from that and I was also in the early stages of pregnancy. We were expecting our third baby, and it just felt like Pesach and preparing for Pesach was so overwhelming. I was like, I think I'm just gonna pass this year.
Right.
I'm just gonna
Right.
skip over that
Right.
because I couldn't even wrap my mind about like how am I gonna
Yeah.
clean and cook, and this house is so
Yeah.
big, and it was just too much. So
Listen, it's the biggest thing that everyone has. It's like
yeah,
it's such a it's why I was just talking about it with someone else the other day, right? About Pesach and just how much work it really is. I remember, my parents, they used, and they still do it, literally layer down everything with tin foil and, have to clean everything out, every crevice, every little thing.
yeah,
It's a lot of work. It's not like a walk in the park, right? Then you got to get the
yeah,
food, you got to buy the food, and the food's expensive. Everything adds, it keeps adding up. And I always speak to people who done a program once, and I come back like, was it worth it?
yeah,
And they're like, are you kidding me? If I can go back, I would go back.
yeah,
I go back there all year round. It's amazing.
yeah,
I asked them, like, did it feel like Pesach? Did it feel like a change? Like,
right,
if they go, it felt like bliss. It felt like I can go away. I can have a great time. I don't have to worry about anything.
yeah,
Everything's taken care of for me. It's really
yeah.
cool. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. So
It
you
feels
kind
like
of
to be
the impetus.
a parent because you're not always like yelling at your kids to not eat here, not eat there. Like you're getting ready, you're cleaning. Like you can just take a more relaxing approach.
Yeah.
But yeah, like basically, like what I was saying. So basically, we had just moved, and I just felt like so overwhelming to make Pesach. So we were like, let's just look into this idea of maybe going away. And like Pesach programs are like notoriously bougie. So we didn't think it would be
Right.
like a reasonable, thing for us. But we started looking into it, and actually we were so pleasantly surprised at
Yeah.
how many options there are in every price range. So especially the overseas ones. So that's really what caught our attention because we anyways love to travel and we love to experience like culture and going to Europe, and some of our best like memories have been going to Paris in the past and going to different places.
Yeah.
And we were with this, we can kind of kill two birds with one stone. We can go on this amazing
Yeah.
epic adventure in
Yeah.
Europe and kind of alleviate this
Well,
pressure getting ready for Pesach.
yeah, and the truth is, look, there's a lot of programs out there, a lot of Pesach programs. For those who don't know what Pesach programs are, I mean, who's joining us, these are, think of them as like kosher, all-inclusive trips for 10 days. Literally everything taken care of, from food, lodging, hotel, to babysitting, to kids camp. Like, it's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about a thing, right? You go and just, it's an all-inclusive trip, probably plus more.
Oh yeah.
I've been to like inclusive properties that, don't have a lot of this for Pesach, and this Pesach they kind of cover everything around the belt. But you know what? There's a lot of like non-bougie programs out there too. Especially in Europe, and I'd say because in Europe and where you're at, right now, it's like you don't need them to be bougie. Most people who are going away to Europe this year, they're not going for the extravagance. They're going for the like you are for the sabbatical. They're going for the experience. They're going for um, the adventure of a lifetime. They're going to
But
kind of
also, I want
like
to mention, right, exactly. But I do want to say it, wasn't like not nice. It's also like beautifully
yeah,
presented, stunning. The food has been like top notch. They bring in Israeli chefs or, French chefs, and,
it's
it's top of the
unbelievable
line.
what they do. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
really impressive what they're
and it's
able to pull off, especially these
yeah, and
destinations.
what's cool about it, you got programs now popping up all around the world. I mean,
Yeah,
you got programs. There's a bunch of programs in Greece. Greece is a big hit this year.
yeah. So
I
that
think mainly because.
was our first time going away. So that
Oh,
year
really?
when we moved to Houston, we actually went to Greece.
No way.
And incredible. We were so impressed. The resort, first of all, was just stunning. We were in
Yeah,
Thessaloniki, and the resort was on the water. I mean, it was like being in just,
Thessaloniki.
you can't even imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thessaloniki, Greece is one of the most prettiest
it's
places.
absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful. The kids program was like incredible. They had a full, separate like kids campus that was all kind of themed around like
Yeah.
Madagascar, like the movie
Yeah.
Madagascar. So they had these, I don't know, it was just so amazing. We were so blown away and so happy to be there.
Yeah.
It was great. It was such a good experience. So we just
Yeah. No, this program it really is the experience. I think it's about like for me at least. We always ask like because we survey so many people out there about like why people actually go on a Passover program, right? Some people, oh, it's the food, oh, it's the hotels, amenities. I don't know. For me, and maybe you as well, it's actually it's really the people you meet and the
yes,
customs and like the different things, like the different things that happen on a program.
yeah. We met
You always
so
hear
many
these like.
people on programs like over the
Yeah,
past
new
year.
people, new
I love
inspirational, like,
how the kids would get along so well. They just love making new friends and they keep in touch throughout the year. They actually, especially my daughter, she's very social. She has made a couple friends from Pesach programs that she FaceTimes with them and she is like looking forward to seeing them again. And it's like really amazing the connections you can build in just, 10
yeah,
days.
yeah, no, it's really cool. In fact, yeah, I mean, I went on last go getaways last year in Florida. It was a great program. We keep in touch with a lot of friends that we've met there, and you're right. It's all about the people you meet, right? And where you go, right? And look, like I said, there's a program I think for everybody, and I say that like with all honesty. I mean, there's budgets $4,000 for a program for two
Yeah.
people to $20,000 for a program, right?
Yeah.
For two people, so it's really all over the gamut. Um, so it's really cool. Pricing is key. I mean, every year it's so funny because we get they always ask, what are the reviews and what is the pricing, right? How do I get reviews, right? Like from real people who, honest reviews, right? Who've been on the program, and how do you get like pricing? Like, what is the actual price of these things? Um, so it's nice, Passover listings, right? You take a look, you have all the pricing, you have all reviews
Yeah.
on these programs. Really good.
That's such a
Yeah.
game changer because that takes a significant amount of time and energy to kind of
Oh,
research
yeah.
beforehand. And yeah, and especially, when you're trying to find a great deal, it's not just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's just choose the first one I see. Like you want to do your
Right.
due
Oh,
diligence.
absolutely. People will literally take
Yeah,
months, they told us, to find pricing, to get aggregate all pricing
yeah,
and aggregate all reviews of everything, and then kind of decide. It's crazy. I mean, there's over 120 Pesach programs this year. It's unbelievable. So
incredible.
you want to pick the best one for your fan. You also want to make sure you don't get on a program um, that there's always not always say, but
You.
sometimes every year you got to be careful of the ones out there too. You got to make sure you're going to reputable programs with reputable owners and operators and know what they're doing. They do it every year, and even the first year programs. There's a lot of good owners out there, but it's the first year. You have to know what you're getting yourself into and what the requirements are and things like that.
Totally.
Um, yeah. So I guess on Pesach, what do you specifically look for in a Pesach program? Like, what's your goals of a Pesach? If you were going to a program this year, what would you be looking for?
I guess, okay, so I guess because now the kids are kind of a little older and we've gone to like a few programs, so now we kind of have a good sense of like what we're looking for. So I think it has to be like English speaking. So it could be international. We love international and like having that, but we did go one year to a program that was fully French. And yeah, I like that because I kind of feel like when I'm in a new place, I just want to be like fully immersed and kind of pretend like I'm a local, even though I'm not. But I like to just go with the flow and like use my French and practice. But the rest of my family, they don't really appreciate that as much. So they want to be able to have conversations and connections with people. So being able to speak English is a huge plus, but that's like, for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, that's a given. All over the world, still the counselors will be English speaking, and like
Hmm.
there's going to be so many people from England, from Israel, from the States. So usually that's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else would we be looking for? I guess just mainly it's the kids,
It's all about
honestly. Like the kids should
the
be
kids.
happy.
I
It's
feel like
all about the kids.
if the
As
kids
long
are
as they're
happy, then we're happy, right? I mean, like
as long as they're engaged and the kids club is great and the counselors are good,
the kids
and then
club. That's
obviously
a
like
big.
yeah,
That's a biggie. Yeah, I always hear it's like at the end of the day, a lot of programs have invested heavily in getting really, really good kids
Yeah.
clubs on these programs. Really solid people running them,
Yeah.
know what they're doing. There's a lot of, games and toys and activities and like
Yeah.
literally like an itinerary for the teenagers and like the kids
Yeah.
that are even the
Yeah.
babies. They need to be busy,
Right.
right? You want to I remember last year, years before, you bring in your baby that's zero, maybe 0 to 2 years old, and how do you get them to stop crying? There were so many kids. I don't want to go. Where's my mom? But these people, they know the tricks and tips of how to distract
Yeah.
kids and get them
But
it's
that first year when we were in Greece, we only had two kids and they were younger, so we were like still,
yeah,
newbies, and the kids were so shy and they didn't want to go to the kids club. So we were basically in the kids club with them for most of the
right,
day, which was kind of like
right,
not the point of going away on this trip.
right,
It was
right.
so great, but now we're like more experienced parents and we just like bring them in and we're like, okay, kids, bye. We'll see you at the end of the
Absolutely.
day.
Absolutely.
So funny. So like this past Sukkot, actually, one of the counselors calls me and he's like, your kids want to know if they can join you at the beach. Like, is it okay for them to go? And I'm like, fine, send the kids.
That's so that's great.
Good.
So
And I mean,
before
even just the value of the kids programming, if you kind of break that down like monetarily, in terms of like versus, tuition, let's say, the amount that we would be paying for, full day of camp or school,
hmm
just that value is like a big
yeah,
part of your expenses. So just there is like
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It really is. I mean, you'd be paying a lot for people to watch your kids. I mean, I know. Yeah, unbelievable. The rates of watching your kids these days have gone up over the years. Let me tell you. So before we end it, what advice would you give? You've been on Pesach programs. You've been on a lot of Pesach programs throughout the years. So what advice would you give? What one piece? Let's keep it to one. One piece of advice would you give to people who are first timers, trying to find a Pesach program? Like how, what advice would you go about to give them to go find a Pesach program that they're looking for?
You know what? I think that um, going to a place that you've kind of always dreamed about and maybe felt like it's not reasonable or like practical for, someone who keeps kosher and has certain, lifestyle. As Jews, we, certain things like
Mhm.
if you are, particular with about, having a minyan always, or these kinds of things are very restricting if you want to go somewhere, to a certain place. So things
Mhm.
like that. If you have a dream destination in mind, go over to Passover listings, check out
Oh,
their
what a
amazing
plug.
tool. I know, but I mean, it's so true because honestly, going to places like Tunisia or even Greece, or we were in France on a program. I mean, this doesn't seem like these are normal places to go and have a fully Jewish,
You're
like
right.
vibrant,
You're right.
holiday, and it's actually so attainable and it could be so beautiful.
Yeah.
So
No,
take a risk.
you're right. I mean, I think you hit on the nail. Like, go, find the destination you want first. I always
Yeah,
tell people, like, start at the top of, which location you want, right? Narrow it down because, there's so many locations out there. And there's so many programs within the location. So I think you're right. Like, figure out the destination first. And then once you find the destination, you're kind of going from like 100% of the programs to probably 10%,
yeah,
I'd say, of the programs. And then,
reviews.
and then it's easy. I mean, it's easy in the sense of like, what's your
Yeah.
budget? What are you looking to do? Where are you looking to
Check
go?
out the
And then,
sure you like the accommodations.
yes,
Check out
hopefully.
the reviews.
Read the
In
reviews.
there, that's key.
Yes,
Food,
yes. Absolutely.
things like that, because food is obviously going to be a huge part of it. So that
Food
needs
is,
to be
yeah,
good.
food is great. Well, thanks for joining.
Thank
This has
you
been amazing. I love, oh my God, I honestly love what you're doing. Enjoy your sabbatical.
so
Hopefully we'll
much.
see you on a Passover
Yes,
program, Pesach program this year. And
thanks for having me.
for those who are still looking for a Pesach program, always reach out to Passover listings to find one. If you need help, you can go to the website. We have a new cool pricing tool that literally with the click of a button, you can find pricing on almost every single program out there for a Pesach. And if you need any help or need any recommendations, we are here to help you. So thanks so much, SB, for jumping on, and we will see you soon.
Answer any questions if anyone has,
Yes.
into my DMs to continue the conversation too.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Take
Have a
care.
great
Bye
day.
bye.